Every Friday noon, Suhail Khan goes to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. to pray.
It
was very important. It's something very central to my life and to the lives of many in America, including for Muslim Americans. And it's so gratifying that as Muslim Americans we're able to come and pray here on a weekly basis in our U.S. Capitol to really exercise our rights as full-fledged Americans.
An American citizen by birth, Khan proposed the Friday prayers in the Capitol in the late 1990s, when he was a staffer for the Republican Party. Now, some 80 Muslims come to pray in a Capitol conference room. Most work for representatives. In his sermon, the Imam describes America as a shining city upon a hill, an image from the Bible that Presidents Ronald Reagan and John F. Kennedy also used. Later, Khan worked for the George W. Bush administration. Like all White House staffers, he had to obtain a top-level security clearance and swear his loyalty to the Constitution.
So just days after 9/11, there was a report on Fox News that a Muslim man in the White House was tied to Al-Qaeda. And of course, when I first heard that story, I began to, and now it seems funny, wonder who that could be. And I thought I knew all the staff in the White House, and I was wondering, who is this mysterious person that has ties to Al-Qaeda? And of course, I soon learned that they were referring to me.
The Bush administration reaffirmed its support for Khan and said he had no contacts to extremists. Fox News got its facts wrong. Fox withdrew the story, but other media outlets picked it up. Some have pursued it and Khan to this day.
They don't want Muslims to have any political voice in this country. So again, somebody like myself serving in government, serving in sensitive positions in the Bush administration, they saw as a very strong target because they didn't want somebody like me to be there.
9/11 has forced Khan to prove again and again that he's both a patriotic American and a Muslim. Only about a third of Americans believe Muslims can be trusted. The devastating effect the terrorist attacks had on American society was intensified by the television images of it. Shocking scenes and events,
which could show, in real time, buildings collapsing, people being killed. And I think that set a certain trauma off in this country that still we haven't quite reached beyond. And that trauma is one of, well, we'll never let it happen again.
Spreading fear and hatred of Muslims can be big business in the U.S., as a study by the Center for American Progress shows. It asserts that at least 7 foundations dispersed $42 million to experts, journalists, and evangelical preachers who spread fear of Muslims.
I think there's an industry here in the United States that is trying to create the perception that all Muslims are suspicious, that we should target all of them because they want to engage in a Sharia takeover of the United States, that they're all posing a security threat.
But the study indicates that demonizing Muslims in general only ends up compromising security.
We need the assistance of the Muslim community to combat the rational threat that exists, the small amount of terrorists that may live within the Muslim community. You need the Muslim community's help.
Most Muslims who carried out attacks in the past few years were acting alone, such as the gunman who killed 13 people at Fort Hood, Texas in November 2009. Hundreds of New Yorkers narrowly escaped an attack in May 2010. Many Americans eye mosques run by radical clerics with suspicion. One who's on the security agency's radar is Iman Musa. He preaches conspiracy theories but has not broken the law in doing so.
9/11 was not done by Muslims, misguided Arabs, or anybody. 90% of the Muslims know that. They don't believe it. We don't believe it at all.
The Imam runs a private school in the mosque's basement. The children are taught all subjects, not just religion. Private schools like this one are legal in the United States. There are more than 3 million Muslims in the U.S., nearly 1% of the population. And the vast majority want nothing to do with the radical mosques or their clergy. They have mostly the same dreams and ambitions as their fellow citizens: success, prosperity, and social standing. After George W. Bush left office, Khan, now age 42, went to work for the private sector, representing a software corporation.
That other young Muslim Americans who are thinking about public service, thinking about serving their country, were having second doubts and thoughts about it. Why should I do that? Maybe I should just go into the private sector, because there are these people out there that might start questioning my loyalty, questioning my patriotism.
He may well be expressing his own doubts and thoughts, but would Khan ever work for the American government again?
It would be an honor. I can never say no if those asked me to serve my country. So absolutely, if the opportunity came, I would accept it.
Khan's loyalty belongs to his country, but to his faith as well.